Hello guys, and welcome back to another skill point guide video for Total War Warhammer 3 on Immortal Empires. Today we'll be covering Repanse. I really enjoyed the SFO campaign that I was doing on the channel, and I just got kind of a excitement to cover her as well on vanilla, and so I played a little bit in my own time, and I really did enjoy her campaign. Even outside of SFO, so I thought I'd make a video about her. Now, other than grabbing Root Marcher, I do like to go just down her melee line, making her a little bit tankier. She doesn't really necessarily buff a whole lot other than the physical resistance for her peasant units, which most of the peasant units, you know, in vanilla are actually complete shit. It was something that took me a little bit to get used to because I had been playing SFO for a while, but realizing that you really can't rely on them to do like anything. It's more about her and her other lords that you'll be able to recruit, because Bretonia doesn't have supply lines, and Henry here, because she does start with a special hero. It's really just you don't really need to use them per se. So because of that, I do like to go down her melee line first and just making her stronger. Give herself some more health, give herself some more melee defense, and going down her Woundmaker, Deadly Blade, Blade Shield, and Deadly Onslaught. I don't get Indomitable because down her special skill line you can make her unbreakable, as well as giving her Frenzy for the army. Now I know with Bretonia you can get her to be, your lords to be unbreakable after you win an X amount of battles, but I do like to get the Frenzy for her army, just giving all my units more melee attack, more charge bonus, and armor piercing and base weapon damage as well. So that's why I do like to get that. I know it's sort of redundant though with two unbreakables. I do like to finish the rest of her melee line by getting full plate armor and as well as her more charge bonus. But then after that, I do like to come down her special skill line. It's got some good things. Gives her army a little more replenishment and armor piercing damage. I do like to get honorable and pure for the corruption, just because you're going to be going against, here you start off with some vampires. You're going to have some corn corruption. Once you get over here to face Scarbrand, potentially if Manfred's still alive, if you push south, you're going to have Kairos to deal with. You're going to have Skaven to the northeast, you know, more vampiric corruption to the north. Wherever you go, there's going to be a lot of corruption, basically playing as Repanse. So I do like to grab that. Getting the Courageous for her, some more melee attack and ward save. Banish the Scourge, I like to grab that because you are going to end up fighting, I found in my campaigns anyway, you're going to end up fighting quite a bit of Vampire Counts, Coast, and Tomb Kings. And plus, since the Flaming Attack only applies when you're fighting them, it's not going to have an effect when you're going up against units, say Emmerich potentially, that has loads of fire resistance there. And then grabbing the Eternal Errantry War as well, just to finish out her special skill line. And now on top of it as well, I do like to grab the Fleur de Lis banner, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. That way, once she is in melee, she gives a melee defense and melee attack buff, pretty significant buff, to everyone around here within a 35 meter range. So I do like to grab that and consider that to be in with her special skills. Now, after that though, we got a lot of skill points to spend. I personally like to go down her red line over her blue line. I know, you know, it's really, you can't really go wrong. It's fine. Do what you want. But I do like to go down her red line. I do like to go down her cavalry. Again, I don't really worry about her peasant units, even though she gives them a little bit of leadership and physical resistance buff. It's just not that big of a deal. So I do like to grab the Glorfinilla's Progeny, as well as the Guardians of the Lady. And then down here, I do like to grab the Chivalric Code, and then also the Protectors of the Realm for the charge bonus, melee defense, and armor, and then Stand Your Ground as well for that melee defense and leadership buff. Now after that, we still, as you can see, have 14 points. I do like to come and grab Mentor. I do like to grab Lady's Mantle for her personally and basic training, just because you're going to have a lot of melee units with your cavalry in your army, so you want them to be able to fight better for longer, and getting that vigor loss reduction there will definitely help that go a long way. Now, in terms of the special skill line, the Rebuild the Ruins, I really am not too concerned with this. The problem with these types of abilities is that it's not, most of the times, it's just not a like province-wide buff. It's a local region. Now here the recruitment is a province thing, but their construction time minus 50%, the cost 25%. Your legendary lord should never just be sitting around in a settlement doing nothing. You should always want your lords out doing something, fighting, conquering, moving towards your next target. They shouldn't just be sitting in settlements for several turns getting stuff cheaper to be built. It's just a waste of your time. You need them to be fighting. You need them to be getting those levels up early on. And unfortunately, a lot of these skills in the special skill line for a lot of legendary lords just aren't that big of a deal, and it's really unfortunate, which is why I bypass it on here as well. But I do like to go down the blue line once I do have everything else kind of sorted out that I want to deal with. Lionhearted, just it's not necessarily a bad idea. For her, I just like to grab some other things personally. But you can get a 50% cooldown on Stand Your Ground, which essentially, you know, it could be you're just, you know, casting it twice as often, basically. Instead of 90 seconds, it's 45 seconds, so it can come in handy there. But I do like to reduce the corruption even further, and then I do like to grab just the Justice CR, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, for the extra control and grabbing her some extra replenishment. I do actually end up grading Lionhearted. I did forget I did end up grabbing it in my campaign just because down the blue line can't get to Bailiff for the extra campaign movement range. There's nothing really down here that I'm not too concerned about. Really, if anything, this might be one of the few times I actually recommend getting Lightning Strike, because you're focusing on melee units. You don't have, I mean, you will have magic. You can get damsels that can dish out a lot of damage, right? But a lot of times you're going to be relying on cavalry to be doing loads of the damage, which takes time, which means you need more time in bigger battles to prevent the enemy from showing up. And since you are in a melee army, you don't really need an ambush defense chance. If you get ambushed, you're going to be able to move around. You're going to be able to combat whatever the enemy comes at you, unless they, for some reason, throw like 3 or 4 armies at you. But I just have rarely ever seen that happen. I know that's kind of all over the place. I know there's loads of different ways you can go, but that's how I personally enjoy leveling up Repanse. A lot of it just has to do with the fact that Bretonia's infantry is just absolute garbage. None of their units should be, in my opinion, above tier 1. There's nothing here that makes me think that foot squires or the men-at-arms polearms should be tier 3 and 4. At the maximum, the unit should be tier 2. They're just absolute garbage. And unfortunately, since cavalry struggle with running units down, hitting, you know, having a big mass and big charge bonus, I know the the Grail Guardians and the Grail Knights have a huge impact now. But other than that, their other knights just aren't that big of an impact. Plus, you're going to need your vows sorted to be able to afford these units, because they are extremely expensive. And unfortunately, like, to really make it effective, you still need a little bit of melee line. That way, you're not micromanaging, you know, 16, 15 different cavalry units on a battle map. It gets super clunky. It can make battles super difficult when you're so restricted to only a certain amount of units in your army. But anyway, that is how I personally, again, enjoy leveling her up. I know that's not 100% how everyone will do it, but that's how I enjoy doing it. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. And if you enjoyed the video and are liking the content, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And until the next video or live stream, hope you guys have a good one, and I'll see you later. Bye.